kangaroo badge. A revolutionary accessory that can transform the iconic Volkswagen badge into a protective audio shield. Being developed with the University of Melbourne, RooBadge connects to an in-car app that uses machine learning to compare the vehicle's GPS coordinates against kangaroo distribution data to create a unique audio deterrent for the particular species inhabiting that location. By mixing natural and artificial sounds in real time, that RooBadge projects as a focused beam of high-frequency sound. When the signal hits a kangaroo, it alerts them of approaching danger, deterring them from the road. Something no kangaroo deterrent has done before.
Welcome in, people. I just had to share that because that just blew my mind. When I first came across it, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a hoax. For like forever, people have had roo deterrent things on the front of their cars, which are just like these metal tubes that make a noise as you drive along, and it scares the roos away. But an actual electronic device, that's pretty awesome. Welcome in, Teresa, Deb, Ariel, good to see you here. Welcome in, Camilla, if you are in here. I'm just going to say that. So, still not the updates that we want for Parker, still nothing happening. Welcome in, Kelly, good to see you. Sheila, good to see you. And Artemisa, also good to see you. I will play another thing, an update for Parker in just a moment. Sorry, I was just looking at my notes. In terms of, I know I said that I was going to do a members live yesterday. I ended up with visitors, so I kind of just ran out of time. By the time my visitors left, it was dinner time to feed the dogs, time to feed me, and just kind of it all went sideways after that. I will try to do a members live this afternoon or this evening, barring any interruptions. Although I do have an extra canine in the house today, so sometimes that can create issues. Welcome in, Saza. Anyone else that I've missed? Yeah, I need to. I really do need to do some live streams that are going to fit in for some of my UK subscribers. I will touch base with Women's Warrior when she's around and try and figure out a time that would work, that would be a respectable time for me to do live streams, like additional ones for people in the UK. The ones that I do that are evening here, do they work? How do they fit in for people in the UK? Are they any better, or I was good to see you, Summer Breeze. YouTube's had a lot of glitches lately, that's for sure. I was late starting, and I don't know if that caused issues, but
Jasper.
Oh, sorry. I have my sister's dog here, and he hasn't grown out of the destroying phase like Mouse has done. So he's just currently destroying a memory foam bath mat. I'm just going to let him go because at least he's not destroying shoes or anything important. Now I've lost focus. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'll try and figure out something for people in the UK in terms of a time that works. I'm just going to say it again. Welcome in, Camilla. if you are here. I believe we are seeing Camilla being greeted. Welcome in, Deborah. Now, I sent out a bunch of emails last night, and Callie, I'm not sure, you know what it's about, but I'm not sure if I actually included you in the email list. If I didn't send that email to you, let me know, because that goes more into detail about what we were discussing. That said, I did put you in the email list. Cool. I tried to include Christine Inrig in that email, and it bounced back to me. So her old email address isn't working. I would like to be able to try and get hold of Christine about this matter, about this behind the scenes stuff. So if anyone is in contact with her, ask her to drop me an email. I don't know if she's in any of the Facebook groups or anything, but yeah, I would like to touch base with Christine Inrig, if at all possible. But yeah, her email bounced back to me, so I don't know how else to contact her. I don't know where she's working currently. So yeah, just leave it at that. If you've had the email from me, you probably know what I'm talking about. If not, it's just, we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, I may have a few moments during this live stream when I get distracted, because the dog that I'm babysitting is a single child, essentially. He's not so accustomed to just being part of the pack and settling down all that easily. So there may be some distractions. Okay, now before we go on to Parker, I want to share this. Those of you who were following Maddie's case are going to know just how wrong this is. And I hate that. I hate seeing my face. I wish it wouldn't do that. Okay. This is important. Please do not buy any merchandise from this individual, because this is a scam. Yes, that is the very same dog. The original agreement was the dog wasn't going to be coming to my place again. And then, because I'm a pushover, agreed that so long as the dog was given anxiety medications, that he could come. Hold that thought. Let me just put on, bear with me a minute.
Of wine and poured another. Told the bad boy come right over. Left both doors open wide. He said you best be armed, I'm coming inside. I grabbed my QQ and some Merlot. Called my husband, said here we go. Message detectives on my phone. The bad guys coming, I'm not alone. They're chasing me down the road, doing 140 in my Mercedes low. Call 911, but they're too slow. Gotta reach the cops before they know. 6 police cars on my face. Ski mask dude in a Honda Chase. I'll race them all with my V8 while calling Ralph. Don't make me wait. He said slow down. I said no way. These hillbillies want me today. Pulled up to the station gate. The cops just stared and made me wait. They're chasing me down the road, doing Met detectives at Tim Hortons, played the tape of all his warnings. Mad Dog said you did just right, while 9 more crates come out at night. Husband told him I'm not crazy, sent the cops home being lazy. Tomorrow getting faster wheels for when more villains chase my steel. They're chasing me down the road, doing 140 Mercedes load. Called 911, but they're too slow. Gotta reach the cops before they know.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'm working on finding my Zen right now. The agreement was that if the dog was had calming tablets that he could calm. Doesn't seem that what he was given has really made a difference. Anyway, moving on from that, because I need to talk about this, and I am pissed, to say the least. And for anyone who doesn't speak Australian, pissed doesn't just mean drunk. Pissed can mean angry, and that is what I'm talking about. This merchandise has not been approved by family members, as you can see from Chels's post. So Chelsea put this up about an hour or so back, probably a couple of hours now. So scam alert. This random person note, I don't even know the name, and I'll show you the rest of it in a minute, is not being supported by any of Jack and Lily Sullivan's family. It is a complete scam. Please share. So I am sharing, and I will also do a community post afterwards, and hopefully other content creators who perhaps have more reach than me might also share it, because it is AI. AI content. Tom Shodebury. So I don't know if that's his real name, but honestly, and I'm pretty certain that I'm allowed to say this, feel free to put this guy on blast. There is civil tort here or in Canada, which I'll go through. So they can actually have him take this down, and they can actually take legal action. It could well be someone using bots. I would imagine it's probably someone hiding behind a fake name. Now, if anyone connected to Lily and Jack's family, Chelsea, Belinda, anyone, whatever, if you are listening, you are, by law, you can contact this T-Best store and essentially request them to remove the merchandise. Is it a Canadian name, or are you being sarcastic? That would figure. Look, I love Canadians. I have met some absolutely wonderful Canadians, but there's a few interesting ones. It's a Pakistani name. Right. Got it. Well, Mr. Chundaberry, I'm just going to put it that way because this is just the lowest of the low. Anybody attempting to make money out of 2 missing children who are almost certainly deceased is the scum of the earth. Now, just showing more of, especially when you see the price. I mean, it looks like that's been put together using AI, although it actually reminds me a lot of the digital art of someone who did a similar thing with Maddie's case. But I won't go down that road. Oh, available until July 26th. So it's like, yeah, let's make you rush. So not only have they put this up, but they've put it up in a way to make people rush. Because they know they're breaking the law. They know they're going to get caught out and this is going to be pulled down. So what have they done? They've put it in a rush sale thing so that people impulse buy. And I thought I'd shown the slide with the price. They're charging $35 for those tops. And this is Tom Chowdhury. So he has been sent a message. Yeah. I illustrate. But these days, even like illustrators are kind of becoming redundant because it's just as easy to create illustrations for children's books using AI. I have a niece who is a computer programmer. And when she decided that that's what she was going to do at university, I was thrilled because I thought that's good. That's going to set her up for life. The company that she was working for about 12 months ago put off heaps of workers because they're doing a lot of it by AI now. I haven't had a chance to touch base with Chelsea over it yet. I hope she has reported it to the RCMP. Also, like I said, it is actually covered under Canadian law, under civil tort. And anyone in Lily and Jack's family can actually send this individual a cease and desist. So, you know, that option is there also. But this is just the scum of the earth. Anyone who thinks that they can sell merchandise. Oh, here we go. They've got long sleeve tee for $34. They've got t-shirt, looks like a hoodie, and a mug. So they are going out of their way to make money off Lily and Jack. And they're putting it, I'm guessing this is not the first time they've done this scam, by the way that they're saying that it's only available for this limited amount of time, pushing people to get in now before it vanishes. Yeah. Honestly, this truly, truly is the scum of the earth. nobody should be profiting off 2 missing children. And I'm going to say it, 2 deceased children, because I think we all know that that is the truth of the matter. I'll just bring this up quickly. Family can take civil action. Ticks all these boxes. The children are definitely prominently displayed in the exploitation. It clearly identifies them, and it was done for commercial purposes. So the relevant law is wrongful appropriation of personality. I'm not sure if that's the exact terminology, but in Canada there is one that is like Canada-wide, and then some of the provinces have their own additional torts. Nova Scotia doesn't have its own additional tort, but it still does have this wrongful appropriation of personality. Now, when it comes to civil cases, the requirement for it's not like a burden of proof. It's just you've got to my brain is switched off at the moment. If only I could switch off the dog as well. Hopefully you can't hear that in the background. In civil cases, it's not the same level of proof that's required. But this is more than just enough. It's so wrong. So wrong for people to try and make money off missing children. It's the scum of the earth. It really is. Oh, sorry. I really hate the sight of myself. I'll put that Jack. That's a better look. They probably don't. This is probably some loser sitting in a garage somewhere, or sitting in like a 1-bedroom apartment, just profiting off missing children or deceased children. It's a lifelong thing. I have always hated my appearance. It's just who I am. Anyway, let's get on to Parker. I really wish they could find him.
And I am the Deputy Ops Chief and the overall search manager in charge of search manager ops for the search for Parker. Over the last week, the amount of resources that we have employed on this search has been astronomical. Every single resource that is at the hands of the Calgary Police Service to try and find Parker has been utilised. We've also had an awful lot of help from volunteers that have come up. And one of the things I want to say to Calgary is thanks very much for what you're doing. We all want to find Parker, but you've been able to do it in a way where you haven't interfered with our teams. Our search operations are coordinated. We use lost person behaviour, other search management principles, and that comes from environmental, his own disability, his movements during the day, CCTV from the investigative team. We work in conjunction with a parallel investigation that's running next to us, and that is what's forcing this search in the direction that it is. So thank you, Calgary, for being out there. We need the natural surveillance of the community and the people of Calgary and all the visitors to try and find Parker. You've done a great job, and we ask you to keep going with that, because that's what we need. We are desperate for information. We're at a point of frustration, if you like. We've got to find that little bit of information that gives us more of a bigger picture as to where Parker went, and it will send us in another direction to where we are right now. We're desperate to find him. The commitment from the service, from all the different partners, has been unwavering. We have had officers that are here on their days off. They just want to find him and they just want to bring him home. So thank you to Calgary for everything you've done, but just keep your eyes out there and let us know what you see. We need your help. Thank you.
That was like a Cockney accent, wasn't it? I'm not great with British accents, but when you get the instead of the th, that sounds Cockney to me. Sorry, I just had to say that because the last one we listened to yesterday was South Africa. And then now we've got a guy who sounds like a Cockney. And I'm not crapping on Cockneys. Both my brothers were born in the UK, and even though they all moved back when my brothers were still quite young, my oldest brother, for his entire life, had this hint of a Cockney accent, which was just who he was. So yeah, no shade on anyone with a Cockney accent, but it certainly had that sound about it. Okay, I'm going to have to take comments off stage for a minute so I can read this. This is a new statement from Parker's family, which was put out, I think, about 5 hours ago. It's doing my head in. Like, I wish they could find him. 10 days without Parker has been unimaginably difficult for our family, yet each day we continue to hope, to search, and to believe that bringing him home is possible. Every hour matters. We're asking our community to stay with us, to keep looking, and to continue supporting the search in whatever way you can. We know many people have been wondering how they can still make a difference. The answer is simple. Please don't stop. Every search, every shared post, every property checked, and every minute spent reviewing security footage still has the potential to provide the piece of information that brings Parker home. And that is so true. If he's holed in somewhere and he has access to water, access to food, it could just be that he's just, freaked out beyond anything. We also want to clarify that the Amber Alert expires today. This is a normal part of how the Amber Alert system works and does not mean the search is ending, slowing down, or becoming any less urgent. I'd like to know what that means. Does that mean, like, if they have signs on the highway or anything, that they get removed? Or is it just that any alerts that have been going out stop going out? Or is it just like the online, they take it down? Whatever it is, something needs to be up in place for that. The Amber Alert was never intended to remain active indefinitely. Parker is still missing, and the search for him continues with the same urgency. Following our latest meeting with those leading Parker's search, we are once again adjusting our family's search plan. There's a map that I'll show you in a minute. Our family search will now focus on the highlighted area between the approximate 3.8 kilometre and 8.6 kilometre rings shown on the attached map, which I will show you. We encourage anyone wishing to help with the community search to concentrate their efforts within this area. So they're still focusing on the area last seen. To help make the expanded search area more manageable for community search groups, we have divided the map into clearly marked search zones. These zones are designated to help organise volunteers, reduce unnecessary overlap, and ensure the search area is covered as thoroughly as possible. Based on the information available to us, lost my spot. The area within approximately 3.8 kilometres radius of Parker's last confirmed location has now been searched extensively by both Calgary Police Service and countless community volunteers to make the best use of everyone's time and effort, and to ensure Calgary Police Service has the space they need to continue the investigation work. Our Families Volunteer Search is now expanding outward into the highlighted area. Sorry, it goes down into a shaded area that I can't see. Please remember that researching areas remains valuable as conditions can change over time. Calgary Police Service are relocating their mobile command centre from Thorncliffe to Nose Hill Park. If you're assisting with the search, please avoid the command post and give officers and search personnel the room they need to carry their work out efficiently and safely. And I just kind of reworded that, but I do that. Welcome in Deafening Silence. Good to see you in here, BTTV. Anyone else that I've missed? Again, they're asking for people to check. If you live within the highlighted area of this new map, please carefully check your property inside and out, including garages, sheds, vehicles, stairwells, gardens, storage areas, and I'll add in bins, and any other place where a small child could fit. Please also look for signs that Parker may have passed through, such as disturbed gardens, open gates, displaced objects, or anything else that seems out of place. Whether you live inside or outside the highlighted search area, we're asking everyone to review doorbell cameras, CCTV, and other security footage from July 16 onward. Even a brief glimpse of Parker or direction he was travelling or the time he passed through an area could provide investigators with critical information needed to guide the search. Oh, this just weighs so heavily, doesn't it? It's just, we know many of you have spent countless hours searching over the past 10 days. You have walked countless kilometres, given up your evenings and weekends, searched through difficult conditions, shared Parker's story, and stood beside our family when we need it most. We can never fully express what your kindness, compassion, and determination have meant to us. Please don't lose hope. Every search, every conversation, every property checked, and every minute spent reviewing security footage could still be the one that leads us to Parker. We continue to believe Parker can be found, and that belief is strengthened by every person who refuses to give up. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for carrying this search with us. Please keep Parker in your thoughts, keep sharing his story, and if you're able, keep searching until Parker is home. We will not stop. We are profoundly grateful to everyone who continues to stand with us. I think I've got the map here. Okay, so this is the new map. They've got the sections. So the inside bit must be the 3.4, was it they said? And then you've got the wider area out there. So that's the focus area now for the search. I'm just, my mind keeps going to Michael Vaughan, and I don't want to think that. But it's been a week with no sign of him. And it just takes me straight back to thinking about Michael Vaughan. And I hope it's not the case. I hope that he's just bunkered down somewhere. Because surely someone must have spotted him somewhere, or... But, you know, my concern is if he was just walking so casually. So if the wrong person spotted him and they were nowhere where there were any cameras, because I think that was the situation with Michael Vaughan, wasn't it? That there wasn't anything captured on camera. That's why it took them so long to find Stacey Wanderer and that. Anyway, I don't want to think that. I want to keep hoping. But it's been a week, and my I'm starting to become more and more concerned, because even if he's hidden in a little nook somewhere, he should be found. Yeah. I mean, I'm not losing hope, and again, just whatever it is in the universe that you believe in, pray to that, whatever that is, that Parker's safe and that he's found. I just want to be able to get up one morning and look and see an update that he's been found safe. Especially, and that is a huge concern, especially with the hot weather. Sorry, that was a yawn. I know Charlotte was telling us that the waterway through there is fairly shallow, but there's if you follow it down, it opens out to a big river, apparently. I mean, have people in the area all checked their spas and their pools and everything? Because if people have got pools that they keep covered over, or spas that they keep covered over, it's just a nightmare. I just can't imagine what the family's going through. Yeah. Oh, wow. I've heard a lot of researchers showing that connective tissue disorders somehow are quite often connected with neurodiversity. I'm checking. It's become habit for me now. I if I'm working on something at my desk, the first thing I do when I finish is I check again to see if there's any updates. When I go to bed, when I start settling down for the night, I look and I check to see if there's any updates. And the first thing I do when I get up of a morning is I check. And I want to be able to check one morning and see that they've found him. Oh, I can imagine. That would be really terrifying. Really, really terrifying. Oh. There's a stampede at the moment. Nuts. It's always a concern when there's something on that's going to bring tourists in. Okay, go and get some rest, Summer Breeze. Thank you for popping in. I honestly wonder sometimes if my ADHD is LDHD. There are certainly some things there that make me wonder. And that's not me making fun of people with ADHD. That's me commenting on some of my weird things. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it. So, sorry, I've got the yawn going on again. I seem to do this at the start of my live at the moment. No reason why. K-Day's time now. I don't know what K-Day's time is. So the Stampede's over. I just really, really hope that he's found. Poor little man. It's a worry. It really is. Oh, an exhibition. Oh, cool. Sounds like Calgary is like Canada's equivalent of Melbourne. There's always something happening in Melbourne. Edmonton, cool. Yeah, you go down to the State Museum and there's usually some brilliant exhibition or always something going on. That's the thing. He's at risk. I don't know. I don't want to go down that path. My brain, I'm trying to stop my brain from going down that path because I do worry. I was really hoping, I think all of us were expecting that within the first couple of days they would have found him. That someone would have been like, oh, he was hidden out in my shed. But to be gone for an entire week, I really hope heads roll in that day home with the entire organisation because they screwed up. They screwed up in a major way. But, yeah. It really makes you think, though, like, you know, with children who have got some sort of disability, neurodiversity, whatever, it makes you really want to get air tags and put them in their shoes or something like that. Or even someone mentioned a wristband or something that you can get. And I think maybe there needs to be more public awareness of things like that. Because this has just gone on far too long. Okay, well, let's go on to Daniel. Now, I realised afterwards that I didn't run the audio back for context. You have one on a keychain. Oh, that's a good idea. Honestly, my niece has just finished her degree and she keeps talking about possibility of travel. And if she does decide she's going overseas, I'm buying her air tags. I'm going to make sure that I know where the hell she... Whoops, sorry, language. I'm going to make sure that I know where she is. Young 20-something-year-old female travelling alone. Nuh-uh. She's not getting on a plane unless she's got some air tags. Okay, so Daniel was doing the woe was me thing yesterday. I didn't run it back. It's probably better for us if I didn't run it back, but usually I like to run it back a bit for context. But there's your context. It was just Daniel doing Daniel. So let's continue with that.
It changed my entire life. Like, I wasn't a bad person before. I just lacked that emotional ability to, see things from an emotional aspect. It was always a logical aspect, right? And I had to really, dive deep into who I am and try to restructure my life to include the emotional aspect, not just the logical one. And it was tough, right? I spent the whole year, we'll say I spent the whole year trying to find myself.
Okay, sorry. I'm sitting here. This is not working. Jasper, the dog that isn't mine, decided to ask to come up, except that he's just kind of squiggling and licking, and it's just not working for me. So you can go down. Sorry. Okay. It's bad enough when the squirrels get loose, but when the squirrels have assistance, it just makes it so much worse. Oh, yeah, I would do the same. Wow. Yeah, I think I may have actually played this bit yesterday, because I remember commenting. Oh no. Deafening silence. Yes, I do have Labman here on my MacBook finally. So tell your broadband to stop acting up, because I do plan on playing that towards the end of the live stream. Yeah, canine squirrels, that is the problem. He's gone and found himself a bed, so hopefully he will settle now. Okay, so Daniel, trying to focus back on that. I need Brian Sutherland in here to tell me to focus again. Although I think, I'm trying, I am. But that is such a red flag. He wasn't bad before. Well, what about after, Daniel? Yeah, he spent the whole year trying to find himself. Yeah, Daniel, you did not spend the whole year trying to find yourself. You spent the whole year just doing your chameleon thing and basically adapting your behaviors, adapting your language based on what everyone else was saying. And he's doing exactly the same thing here. He needs a new strategy because, of course, it didn't help things when he got charged and when it was all through the media and all through YouTube, etc., that he's facing these charges. So he had to adopt a new strategy. He couldn't just try the I'm Mr. Charming for Lily and Jack. So now he has to do the I'm Mr. Sensitive, and you know what? I've changed. Yeah. I think Angela does a good job with that a lot of the time. There's been a few times when like mainstream media, Angela McIver, when she interviews him, she throws back a few curveballs at him. But when he's on people's live streams, you're getting this thing going on of the trying to get the balance of, obviously they don't want him to say, yeah, I'm not going to talk anymore. But then, for them to try and find a way of still coming back at him and getting explanations without without getting him offside. Really comes across like that, doesn't it? Wasn't bad before what happened with Lily and Jack. No. Oh, Taka. Sorry. They booted Taka, my old arthritic dog, out of her bed, and now she's trying to find a nice spot to settle down. I am trying not to be distracted, but it's challenging. Okay, let's continue.
Do you feel like you have,
Yeah. And
I'm going to run that back. Just for my benefit more than anything else.
I had to change my entire life. Like, I wasn't a bad person before. I just lacked that emotional ability to, see things from an emotional aspect. It was always a logical aspect, right? And I had to really, dive deep into who I am and try to restructure my life to include the emotional aspect.
In other words, he had to learn how to act like someone who has empathy. He's not saying that he's actually changed. He's just saying that he's basically done the chameleon thing, realized that people expect him to show some level of empathy. And so he has to basically figure out what that looks like. But because it's not real empathy, that's why it is coming across as just really odd. Because it's not a natural thing. He's not actually feeling empathy or anything like that. Right. So this is a follow-up from Charmaine's live. So he's gone and there you go. This is seeing it in action. Someone's asked him this. He's gone and he's prepared his answer this time round. But of course, yes, exactly. Just what Callie's saying. If you are a malignant narcissist, you can't be taught empathy. Now, from what we're hearing with Daniel, he certainly sounds like a narcissist. In fact, he admits that he's a narcissist. He doesn't understand empathy. So all he can do is try and emulate it. All he can do is try and find the words to make it sound like he understands empathy. But you can't fake empathy. You really can't.
Not just the logical one. And it was tough, right? I spent the whole year. We'll say I spent the whole year trying to find myself.
Do you feel like you have?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to pause and say, oh, heck yeah. I would love that. I would certainly love that. I would probably need help beforehand figuring out what to say. But that would be amazing. That's what it is. They play act empathy. Someone like Daniel is really good at observing what other people do or at listening to what other people say he's doing wrong, and they adapt their behaviours. But it's not fixing the behaviours. It's not him finishing this conversation with Sonny and then going out into his everyday life and all of a sudden he's got empathy. It's talking the talk. Thank you, deafening silence. That would be good. This is all just BS, empty word salad that we're getting here from Daniel.
You know?
And because I had to do a lot of self-examination, and I believe that there's a lot of people that go through traumatic events or instability in their lives where they never take the time to sit down and they self-examine, and they don't self-examine their whole life and like everything they've done, from my drug use to not being there for Malaya emotionally when I needed to be there.
He likes that one, doesn't he? Oh, for me, not being there emotionally for Malaya when I needed to be there. I wonder if that's something that's been brought up in the CPS stuff. If that's one of the sort of grievances that's been brought up between them in terms of CPS. And now he's using it to try and act sensitive. I'm just going to say this here and now. Him throwing in the if people have gone through traumatic events or instability, if he tries to go down the route of claiming, poor Daniel, I've suffered trauma, if he thinks I come hard at him now, he's not going to know what's hit him. Because just honestly, when you consider what people who suffer from real trauma experience, if he even tries it, it's just scum. Definitely hedonistic, yeah. There were accusations that he was cheating. So I think possibly a lot of what he's coming out with here is things that have probably been discussed in terms of the CPS situation.
And I had to really, stop and think of and try to examine myself in a way where I wouldn't never have the same pitfalls I had from before, that I would be a better person.
Okay. Should we start with the double negative? He wants to stop and think about and examine himself in a way where he wouldn't never have the same pitfalls. He's throwing in a double negative here because this is all just BS. He's not interested in changing. He's showing us right there that he's just talking the talk. But not only that, I reckon you're right, Ariel. Not only that, pitfalls is not the appropriate terminology when you're talking about failings, things about you, about your personality that you need to improve on. Pitfalls are the things that trip you up. They're the external things. The things that basically mean that there are consequences for your negative traits. So again, this is not about Daniel at all. He's not talking about actually changing. And whether it's just on a subconscious level or not, the leakage here is that he wants to basically avoid getting caught out again over the things that have been called out in terms of his personality. But yeah, he could well be getting ahead of the criticism of his character in court, because that's going to come up. You know, that he wouldn't have the same pitfalls before he would become a better person. In other words, he wants to avoid being seen in this negative way. He wants people to believe he's a good person. It's all a show. It's talking the talk and wanting to basically put on an act. Yeah. He's definitely trying for leniency. That's what I was thinking. or Yoda Daniel. Daniel Yoda. He's definitely trying the philosophy angle, and it's just falling flat. He needs to stop looking things up on the internet. He needs to actually start examining himself, not asking Google what the answers are supposed to be, but actually take a look at himself in the mirror and go from there. He is, I would imagine, some of his charges come with a mandatory sentence. Welcome in, Denise. Good to see you here. So now he's got to do the PR stuff beforehand, because he really doesn't want that to happen.
Not just in relationships, but be a better person to everyone, right? Because everybody lives in a way where it's they learn from habit, right? The history repeats itself. So the way you go through your life, if you don't change anything, you're just going to continue to live the way you always did.
Was that his counselor that told him that? Because that is so typical, psychobabble, essentially. Seriously though, he's talking about he wanting to be a better person, but then he kind of stalls because he doesn't know what that is supposed to look like. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's listening to podcasts, videos. The only self-examination is, how can I convince people to believe the narrative that they want, in terms of people are saying I should be like this, so now I have to convince them I'm like this. Chat GPT counselor. So true. So true. Yep. Definitely. Oh my gosh. Him and his cliches. I wonder if he's got a web page bookmarked that has all these cliches because he cannot help himself. You nailed it. All he's achieving here is that he sounds like a poser, complete poser.
And I knew I couldn't do that to myself, and I couldn't do that to my kids, because my kids are everything, just like Jack and Lily were, or are, I should say, because it seems that.
Oops. Didn't mean that to happen, did you, Daniel? He insists that he believes Lily and Jack are alive. And then he has so much leakage. Huge leakage right there. And I'll just run that back just a little bit for anyone who might have not quite caught that.
And I couldn't do that to my kids, because my kids are everything, just like Jack and Lily were, or are, I should say, because.
What more can you say? Before I get onto that, I want to point out that again, he starts with he couldn't do it to himself. He puts himself first, even over his own children. So he's like, I can't go through life without making a change because I couldn't do that to myself. And then remembers that he's got children. Couldn't do that to my kids because my kids are everything. And then his brain just goes, oh, crap, I forgot Lily and Jack. Oh, just like Lily and Jack were or are. Like, oh, my gosh, Daniel, just shut up now. It truly is. To think that he was thinking of trying to get custody of his children when he still puts himself ahead of them. And he's just shown us exactly his thoughts on Lily and Jack. And it really makes it hollow when he tries to claim that he believes that Lily and Jack are still alive. You don't believe that, Daniel, because you know that they're not. He really did. He really tripped over his words big time here. And this is what happens when you're not being genuine. You stumble and come out with BS like this. The only truthful thing he has said so far is where he's basically put Lily and Jack in past tense. He's basically given us the truth there. But even then, that's not a direct coming out and saying it outright. My brain's wanting to answer Karen, but I know that clearly she's still at the beginning of the live stream if she's asking if Tom Chowdhury is a real person. But I tell you what, there is going to be something I'm going to be researching when I get off this live stream. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. We have Dark Triad right he thinks people do believe him. And I've said this many times. I think it stems from the fact that he had quite a narrow audience before Lily and Jack went missing. He only had so many people around to manipulate. And they weren't necessarily people who had the life experience or the experience of following true crime who could see through it. And I think he's really realised that he's out of his league ever since Lily and Jack went missing. Yeah, Lily and Jack were an afterthought. And he still didn't get it right. He just threw them in because he's like, oh, this is where I meant to mention their names. I think it just breaks my heart thinking of what Lily and Jack's home life must have been like. Because I've not seen anything to indicate that Daniel gave a toss, that Janie gave a toss. And I honestly believe that Malaya was quite likely emotionally distant from these children as well, and that her focus was almost solely on baby M. And that's the thing. He's actually enjoying the attention. And this is still a source of dopamine. Going on someone's live stream and basically coming out with these stories. He's definitely getting a dopamine hit out of doing this. Given that he really doesn't seem to demonstrate empathy, I do see a lot of dark triad things going on here. And I do think I'm sort of leaning towards sociopathy. Definitely a narcissist.
It seems that for a lot of people, they don't think they're alive. And I've never given up hope, not even once. I've said that since the start. I believe that they're alive. And if there's always a chance to think positive, I'm always going to take that.
Okay. Trying to stop myself from saying what I want to say, or trying to decide whether I should just mute my mic and just say it anyway. He's basically, I'm fighting the urge, sorry. There are times when I just get so pissed with this guy. He's a fucking arrogant asshole. And I will go and I will edit that out later. He's just leaked that Lily and Jack are deceased. He knows what happened to Lily and Jack. And he still comes out and claims that he believes they're still alive. Oh, yeah. If there's a chance to stay positive, I'm always going to take that. His interpretation of staying positive is he is going to stay positive that there's never going to be charges laid on this case. This is the sheer arrogance of believing that these people believe that they are not going to face consequences. They believe that Lily and Jack are not going to be found. They have this dumbass belief that because it's a nobody case and because it's taken 14 months, that there's not going to be charges. I can guarantee there's going to be charges. I've watched every interview that Rob McCammon has done. I have no doubt whatsoever that the reason this is taking so long is because they are dotting every single I and they are crossing every single T. And they are going back over it multiple times to make sure that they definitely did dot every I and cross every T. When Rob McCammon said about having to do things to judicial standards, that right there tells you they are taking their time with this case. Because when they bring charges, they're doing it for a conviction. They're doing it for justice. So when they do bring charges, it's because they are utterly confident that those charges are going to stick. Yeah, I would like to use that, but I won't. Yeah. There are some times when I just get so angry at the people in this case. Because the pervasive thing is they truly believe that there's going to be no consequences. They truly believe that Lily and Jack aren't going to be found. And you have all this BS going on behind the scenes. And at the end of the day, this is about a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old who deserve so much better than this. A 4-year-old and a 6-year-old whose mother should have thought twice before moving in with a guy that she'd only known or inviting him to move in with her after 2 weeks. Who, despite whatever the issues were that she was going through, couldn't push through and realise that she needed to make changes for her children when her son was getting massive black eyes and split lips. And Daniel's coming on here, trying to act the hero. And we're supposed to ignore the fact that Lily and Jack are gone. Okay, I need a quick reset.
So tall, the cars are parked and watching me, they all they speed away. When I step out the door, they take my pics and videos galore. Drones are buzzing high above my place, yet none appear online to show their face. No one sees my mark making the ground, just silent lights without a sound. Up in the sky, lights of every color shining bright. They flock to watch me every night, hoping for a glimpse or a fight. I run so fast, they can't keep up. They chase me through the wasted flush every night.
Okay, I've had a bit of time to calm down. Welcome in, Tamaru and Dawn. That reminds me, Charmaine did a video yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It's just a quick one. But she gave an explanation of the alerts. So it's about a, I think, 15-minute video with basically you've got a local giving an explanation of the alerts. There is an alert that people can subscribe to from like the Canada Missing Persons Association or something like that. And I had meant to I was going to download it and play it because I don't like playing straight off YouTube because you get ads. But I would recommend going over there and checking it out. I will actually put a post up for anyone who wants to check it out with the link for that. And I'll also put the link for it when I finish this live stream. I'll add it to the description for the these lives. Charmaine's doing some really good work in terms of, you know, she's got that local perspective with Parker. And being able to have her add that additional bit of information is always a good thing. Your son is on his bachelor party golf weekend. Yeah, try not to worry. He's, I should say he's surrounded by friends, but that probably doesn't help. I'm not familiar with this letter. Is that one that was a while ago? There was something a while ago, and I actually just really disagreed with it. All good, Sazza. That's been me most of today. Although, thankfully, the dogs have all settled down. I was talking about the alerts in Canada. Not the Amber Alert, but there was an alert that Charmaine spoke about. She put out a video that's about 15 minutes long. And it's a separate alert system, but it's one that you've got to basically subscribe to. I get a bit distracted when the snoring ramps up. Yeah, so I was just recommending that, and I will put links in the description for this, and I'll also make a post for it. Just so people can go over and watch it and just I think I vaguely remember that Law 360 thing. Vaguely. I think it was a while ago. Okay, let's have... I think I can cope with Daniel again. Maybe I just need to do it when he's awake. Maybe I just need to do a short video just where I just let myself go and I just rant. Yes. I am the queen of ADHD. You've all seen it in action. Oh, wow. Oh, look, I hope you do. I hope you do get some sleep. I know what it's like though, the ADHD thing. I think my body's actually adjusting to me getting about 4 hours sleep a night, if that. It would probably have to be in a short video, because if I did it on a live stream, the whole thing would probably get taken down. But honestly, I know a lot of people feel the same way about this case. Just being fed up with the players in this case. Fed up with this arrogant belief that there's not going to be consequences. You know, fed up with this pushing that Lily and Jack will never be found, and the countless soccer counts that these people come out on. Yeah, well, actually, my goal is to try and do a members, like, probably after dinner tonight, so the usual time when I do my late one. And maybe we should just let rip. Because, you know, cases like this, they really are emotionally draining, especially when you get people just flaunting it the way Daniel does. I mean, is there any doubt in anyone's mind anymore that whatever happened to Lily and Jack happened at Daniel's hands? That Daniel is at the center of this? Because I think the majority of people can't see any other possibilities. And yet he comes out with this bullshit, trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. I'm so innocent. Look at me. I've looked closely at myself, at my inner self, and I've learned empathy. Like, honestly. Do they even remember that Lily and Jack were real people? Like, they interacted with these children every single day. Anyway, moving on before I go off again.
Because I'm not going to dwell on the negative. And that's something I always lived by. And it's apparent that I'm never going to change that part about my life, and I'm never going to change that aspect of who I am. I'm always going to think positive. I want the most positive outcome, because if you think negative, that's the first pitfall that most people have. As soon as you start thinking negative, it just spreads into every aspect of your life, and I don't want that.
At least he managed to use pitfall in the right context this time. Now again, this is not talking about Lily and Jack anymore. He started with the claiming that he believes they're still alive. And he goes on to this whole word salad BS about thinking positive. First of all, serious over-explanation. He's trying to convince the audience that he truly believes it by coming up with this BS babble about being positive. And yes, it's true. It is true. If you look at the world as the glass is half empty, that does, it does become pervasive, and it does affect how you relate to others and how you just go about your daily life. But what he's doing here, he's taking that basically to try and use it as just, more BS to try and convince people that he believes Lily and Jack are alive. This is beyond disgusting, coming from the person who almost certainly is the reason Lily and Jack aren't here. But he's not, like I said, I'm going around in circles here, but he's not actually thinking about Lily and Jack when he's talking about not wanting to let the negative thoughts take over. There's actually a little bit of truth in this. He doesn't want to hear the people who keep saying that there's going to be arrests in this case. He's trying to be positive and convince himself and convince the public that Lily and Jack will never be found and there'll never be arrests. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about him not wanting to take on board the suggestion that he could actually end up being charged over this. He's not wanting to let those thoughts happen, which means that perhaps we are finally starting to make him realise that he's not as invincible as he thought. because it shows that it's clearly on his mind now. Yeah. It's just pure bullshit. Absolute, utter bullshit. Yep. It is. His positivity is pure nonsense and delusional. And it is manipulation. 100% manipulation. Oh, got himself a new car, did he? So he was on the way to see Baby M, but he went to the bottle shop. With his new car. Wonder how long that one will last. Word salad with bullshit dressing. 100%. 100%. Bit of extra dressing on that, please. I know part of this is sleep deprivation, but I'm just so done with some of the characters in this case. Given his track record, maybe within 3 months that car will be trashed. Oh dear. Yep. The BS salad bar. So true. Well, we keep getting all these SOC accounts coming out and saying if there were going to be charges, there would have been charges by now. If they had anything, they would have charged people by now. And of course, these SOC accounts clearly are Daniel or someone connected to him. I think and I wonder if part of the reason he came out on these panels is because maybe in his brain, the 12-month mark was the way of thinking he was safe. Do you think he'd even be able to insure it? Probably be so expensive, it's probably not insured. Because I think most insurance companies would be like, yeah. That's right. He's on stress leave from the sawmill, so how did he get a new car? Good question. Well, I guess, there's a few empty rooms now in the trailer. More space for maybe some scientific experimental kind of stuff, a bit of chemistry, that sort of thing, you know what I mean? And he's in a limbo at the moment because he knows that he can't throw it back on Malaya anymore. So he's still trying to push this narrative of, I'm convinced they're still alive, even though Rob McCammon has pretty much said, not a chance. But he doesn't know how to spin it. and he doesn't have Durwood on side anymore to spin it for him. So all he can do is say, well, I've got to stay positive. That is truly my belief. I've seen this in so many cases before when there's a no-body case. If there are charges that can shore up that case, that can shore up what the prosecution is presenting, then they're going to try and get those charges happening before they make arrests. And then they're going to fight like anything to make sure that they are admissible in court. So this is why I was disappointed with the adjournment till September, because it means that it is quite possible that we might not see arrests for Lily and Jack until 2027. And just saying that, I just feel this tightness in my chest. I hate thinking of that. I think I'm just sleep deprived and just fed up with morons and yeah, I'm fed up with people, not every people, but people like Daniel. He probably would he have got some compensation for that? Because that's the other thing too. The car probably is in Janie's name. It's probably Janie's car. Maybe hers was insured and she got a new car and now he's driving it. Anyway, we'll keep going a little bit longer.
Do you feel like at all that you're a narcissist? Like, just honestly, like, do you feel any part of you that feels like you're being a narcissist?
Okay, I need to pre-warn you. This is the thing that makes my blood boil. So I'm going to try very hard to behave. But the bit we're coming to right now makes my blood boil so much, and I will explain.
Or no?
Hang
it's
on.
Up to, I mean, on any part of you that feels like you're being narcissistic, or no? It's up to, I mean, honestly, I said
before that was a part of the ADHD that I have. And, I did get an assessment done, and it turns out that I do have severe ADHD. And that will always come out as an aspect of narcissistic traits, right? Narcissistic traits come with ADHD in some aspects or some capacity.
Bullshit. I'm sorry, and I will have to edit that out as well. People with ADHD are usually the most empathetic people out there. You will not see anything in the DSM-5 that describes people with ADHD as being narcissistic. See, the thing with having ADHD, and I've said this before, yeah, well, I mean, it's what he's saying is completely inaccurate, and it's essentially putting crap on every single person who has ADHD. And the irony is, for people with ADHD, it is far from the case. Sorry if the dog's being annoying. I don't know what he's barking at. He just doesn't know how to be a normal dog. When you have ADHD, an ADHD child, now this is me getting the statistic totally wrong, and I need to actually write this down and have it somewhere where I can reference it when I do say this, but this will give you an idea anyway. A child with ADHD, by the time they are 10, has been given so many more negative sanctions than a child who is neurotypical. And the statistics are something like by the time they're 10, they've had like 10,000 negative, negative things said about them. Because for a child that has ADHD, the moment they're in the school system, they're being told on a daily basis all the things that are wrong with them. Stop fiddling. Stop talking. Why haven't you finished this task yet? You could do so much better if you'd actually pay attention. You have children with ADHD being given verbal instructions. And because of the issues with executive function, if you give a child verbal instructions, honestly, that dog is driving my head, doing me nuts. Hang on a moment. What was I saying in terms of verbal instructions? When you have ADHD, there is processing delays. So if you give someone with ADHD a bunch of verbal instructions and you've given them 5 instructions, by the time you're up to the 5th instruction, their brain has just finished processing the first thing. And they've missed the rest. And this is something that children struggle with so much at school, because you get teachers who don't realize that a child with ADHD is not going to process that long list of instructions that you give them. Not only that, but if you have this child sitting at their desk and you write a list of instructions on a board for them, the processing that's happening there is that they have to focus up on the board, take in whatever the instruction is, and then focus back on their area in the world. So even then, children can struggle to process what is being asked of them. So a lot of children with ADHD will, in the early years, get the whole, you weren't listening, you've not paid attention, you didn't listen, you've done it wrong. I mean, I know from my perspective, and this is something, because even though I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was really young, I didn't actually have any understanding of it. I remember I learnt very, very early on not to ask the teacher when I wasn't sure of something, but to try and figure it out for myself, because you know when you have ADHD, if you don't understand what's been asked of you, you know that you're going to be told you weren't listening. So I went through school having to figure it out for myself, because I never got all the instructions. I would always, the teacher would finish giving instructions and I'd have no idea what I was meant to be doing. And then, of course, you get into trouble for not starting your work. Why haven't you started yet? I mean, by high school, I reached the point where, I could lean over to a friend and say, so what are we meant to be doing? But because people with ADHD have that daily struggle, the constant messages that tell them that they're not good enough, that's why you don't see people with ADHD who are narcissists, because they've been taught from a very early age that they're not good enough, that they're failures. And because they have struggled, they learn empathy, because they know what it's like to feel like you don't fit in, or to feel like you've failed, or to feel like there's something wrong with you because every other child in the class is sitting down and getting down to the work and you still don't even know what you're meant to be doing. Yeah. I'll try and put this up. Now, see, I was lucky with maths, because I was always, I got pissed off if I didn't get the top mark. Even in primary school, And I look back on horror now because I think of all the kids that would have had the marks that weren't ones that they wanted put up on the door. But I can remember in grade 6, I think it was, grade 5 or 6, and we had like weekly math tests. And the teacher would post or would put the results up on the door. And there was this boy in my class called Peter. And if he ever got the top mark over me, I'd get really pissed off. But I would get pissed off with myself if I got anything wrong in a maths test. So for me, in maths, I could just basically, this was, you work out of the textbook. So I would work from the textbook. I'd learn whatever the formula was that we were working with or whatever it was that we were doing. So I didn't need help from the teacher because it was like the whole formula of it. And I could get all my maths done in the first 10 minutes of class and then disrupt the class for the rest of the lesson. But, I can remember in grade 7, my sister was 4 years ahead of me at school. And I remember in grade 7, I had her English teacher. And she got the English prize the year before when she finished year 10. And her English teacher, because for me, English, like when you're doing, you got to write poems or write a whatever, there was a lot of verbal instruction. So in terms of, what I could achieve in class, I was always struggling. And my English teacher said to me, "You're really not as good as your sister, are you?" And that's something that just stuck with me. And that came from because I was ADHD and I struggled with subjects like English where the instructions were given verbally and quite lengthy. And you're expected to, from that, start working and achieve something. Now, I was in the nerd class. I was in, my year group were the last year group to come through under the old principal. He retired the year before we started, but the classes were set up before he retired. So they were still doing that streaming thing where all the nerdy geniuses were put in one class and they were the elite kids. So, we were 7A. We were the elite brains kids. But to me, I didn't see that because I was only kind of average for a lot of my classes in that class because of the ADHD. The classes where I excelled were the ones where, like maths or something like that, where I didn't have to rely on lots of instruction. So when you look at it that way, to hear some arrogant asshole claiming that people with ADHD are narcissists, that's so wrong. And that there if he is saying he is a narcissist, and I think he is, but that proves to me that his diagnosis is bullshit. I've got to reset the brain, honestly. It wouldn't surprise me if he just researched beforehand what answers to give for an ADHD diagnosis. Or simply because his math brain is so mathed out and he didn't tell the person doing the diagnosis that actually it's been far less than over a year since he's been using that stuff. I'm not a clinician, but he does not have ADHD. If anything, maybe there's a possibility of what used to be termed Asperger's, which is your high-functioning autism. Because I'll tell you about that in a minute. Yeah, quite possibly ODD as well. But I've come across guys with high-functioning autism, like what used to be called Asperger's, who are just like Daniel, who come across as arrogant narcissists. I just don't think either he's made up the diagnoses or he's done an online thing that's probably not accurate, but I just don't see it. That was me. I had considered going into doing accounting, but I changed my mind. I can remember coming out of our final accounting exam and listening to the other people around me who were worrying because they didn't make things balance. And I'm just like, well, I did. I loved doing accounting. It's that whole, and I reckon a lot of people with ADHD, the whole formulaic kind of thing. That's the thing. And I think if there was a clinician who diagnosed him as ADHD, it's either because Daniel lied to them or because they just did not take that into account. He said he was using the stuff on a daily basis. And I don't believe that he's stopped. You just look at some of the interviews that he did where he was clearly on something. And this interview with Sunny, every time he comes back from his pee break, you can tell there's a difference. The only thing that he can claim is that his brain is effed up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, none of us can actually diagnose him, but I think anyone who has ADHD, anyone who's lived with ADHD or lived with someone with ADHD is going to basically look at him and say, that's not ADHD. Sure. Although, you know, if he's drinking like lots of monster drinks or something, that's possible. Sunny pointed out that she has diabetes and he apparently pees more than her. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. He really was. He thinks people can't see through it. He's so delusional. Anyway, I'm going to go a little bit more because I want to get past all this crap.
Yeah.
And now I do have medication for that. And that improved my life immensely because that's why I turned to substance abuse in the first place. My substance abuse disorder has been in remission for over a year now. But that was always a pitfall of mine, right? Because I was always seeking to normalize or seeking to feel normal. And in drugs and, you know, high dopamine things always made me feel normal.
Yep. I'm biting my tongue this time. But the BS is basically part of what I would like to say. Who says that? My substance abuse disorder is in remission. What a load of codswallop. You just have to watch most of the interviews that he's done with mainstream media or listen to Charmaine's live stream or even do a comparison between different parts of this live stream. And now to actually try and I didn't put the comments back up on stage. Sorry, people. Now to try and say that, oh, it's because I was self-medicating. He's trying to justify substance abuse. And he's gone and he's read AIBS and decided that's what he's going to say. All he's demonstrating to me here is that he really does not understand it at all. Exactly, Kelly. That's exactly what I think. And I can't put that up probably, but yeah, it's all about the glass pipe. The claiming that, you know, that it's because he wanted to feel normal. Seriously. When I think about when I think about ADHD, and it's more that you feel that you're different. You don't think, you kind of, you go through life wondering, I don't know how to put it into words, but just the way he's describing it just doesn't fit with me. Now, I will admit that when I was a teenager, my brother bought me a badge that said I'm nearly normal. But that's not the point of medications and stuff for ADHD. It's not you trying to feel normal. It's you trying to focus, trying to slow the world down. He's clueless. He's just giving an excuse. And saying that high dopamine things make him feel normal. He's got this idea in his head that math and medications for ADHD are exactly the same thing, and they're not. They're similar. I've heard them being referred to as being like cousins, but they are not the same thing. And he's trying to convince people that because medications for ADHD they level you out. He's trying to convince people that that's what the math was for. But that's not why he's doing it for. He even admits here about the dopamine. Now, for someone who allegedly has ADHD, if you're taking something like that for a dopamine hit, that's not about self-medication.
But when it comes to narcissism, I don't believe I'm a narcissist. You know, there's probably a million people out there that think I am, but it comes from a place of not being in tune of like who I am and many emotional aspects that I had to work on.
Translation. In terms of me looking like a narcissist, it's because I lack empathy. And I need to learn how to show empathy, how to pretend that I can show empathy. Clueless, utterly, utterly clueless. He's saying he's not a narcissist and then admitting that he doesn't know how to show empathy. Like, oh, honestly, yeah. Honestly, he's just... I would like to hear from the real Daniel, who doesn't look it up on Google first. We won't hear that because he doesn't want to incriminate himself in any way. But this is just a whole bunch of word salad. Oh, heck no. Heck no. If you are properly medicated for ADHD, you don't get a high off it. Like, Vyvanse is a slow release or a long lasting. I'm not sure if it's it takes about an hour to kick in, and then it lasts about 12 hours. You don't get high from it. You just level out, you focus. It's like the whole world suddenly comes into focus. It's this notion of you get high on it is just, it doesn't happen that way. So what happens with, that dog. What happens with the ADHD brain is that it actually takes up the dopamine too quickly, so that it's the dopamine receptors, it's got like too many dopamine receptors. So your brain produces dopamine and it kind of bounces around until it's needed. But with ADHD, the dopamine receptors basically take it up and absorb it, so that it's not happening. So you don't get a high from Vyvanse. You get you level out. Yeah. Same with, I'm on Vyvanse and I usually have a top up with Dex at lunchtime. And days like this, when I've only had like 4 hours sleep, or probably less than that, then, the focus is still not great. But there's so much more focus happening than if I don't have it there to level me out and to allow me to focus. And speaking of focus, I can't with this dog. I cannot with the barking right now. Going to play, where is it? Just bring up, give me half a moment while I pull this up. I thought I'd uploaded it, but I hadn't. This is appropriate. It is. Daniel might not like it, and it may be. We'll just go from here. I'll play it.
Lab Dan, genius at the screen again. Googling ADHD signs and symptoms like it's his master plan. Self-medicating with meth and crack, that's why I'm wired. Thinks he's fooling everybody, but he's clearly a liar. Claims he's expert in polygraph, DNA forensics, so grand cadaver dogs, autism kids, fishing like a boss man. Oh, Dan, what a brilliant little clown. One step ahead, now you're always falling down. Distraction king with protection drones in the sky. Best friend to investigators, yeah, right, what a lie. Thinks he's slick with his excuses, twitching through the day. But the world's laughing hard at your myth fuel play. Look up ADHD, see that's why I run like mad. While cooking up more crack, pretending it's not that bad. Master fisherman search pro, always one step ahead, but every search just screams I'm paranoid instead. Drones for protection, narcissistic, pulling out his hairs. Oh, damn, damn, what a brilliant little clown. One step ahead, now you're always falling down. Distraction king with protection drones in the sky. Best friend to investigators, yeah, right, what a lie. Thinks he's slick with his excuses, switching through the day. But the world's laughing hard at your meth-fueled play. Oh, big head, God complex, expert in nothing real. Oh, no, 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 no. Self-medicating idiot with the dumbest appeal. Oh, no, 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 no. Keep researching, Dan, you're building your own fall. What a joke, bestie, we see through it all. Yeah.
He's still barking. My brain's going to explode. I'm not used to dogs that bark incessantly. I think there's a vehicle idling outside, but honestly, all I can hear is the non-stop barking. So I'm going to finish it there. Thanks for coming in. I apologize for letting rip a few times with my language. Oh yeah, they're spoiled rotten, and I was wrong when I just said they've got 6 beds in here, just in this room, because I forgot that there's also one of those big carriers that they use. Mouse loves to just go in there sometimes to chill out. It's big enough that Taka can actually go into it. And she actually goes in there now when she's stressed, which is good because it means she's not knocking over furniture. So yeah, they're stressed. They're stressed. They're spoiled. But I don't function with a dog that barks incessantly. Actually, that's my bad. I meant to give her a thunder jacket to take home with her yesterday and put on him before she brought him here. And I forgot. So that's something that is worth trying. And I think I'm just going to give it to her because my dogs don't need it. Anyway, thanks for coming in. I very much appreciate everyone who's come in. I'm so sorry about the barking dog. I'm so sorry about losing my cool. And I appreciate everyone. Please hit the like on the way out.
Give a fuck about me.